It's very important for us, for our young 150 million students who are entering, to acquire a problem-solving, innovative, creative mindset in order to address the challenges of tomorrow. Also, we are living in a world where technology is changing the shape of the world. Newer technologies like 3D printing, robotics, IoT, artificial intelligence are all coming. And all the solutions in the world are based on these new technologies. So how do we ensure that our young students, get a platform to experience these technologies and the power of these technologies? Second, get to leverage them for creative problem solving, critical thinking, analysis, so that they can become the innovators of the future world that we live in. You see, every child is a born innovator. However, our educational systems, which have been focusing on rote learning, getting good marks, and then getting into a good university and getting into a good job, is more stimulating job seeking rather than job creation. So it has limited somewhat two aspects. One is the ability to question. The curiosity element in a child is what makes them an innovator. And unless you stimulate that curiosity element, which means questioning status quo, questioning the world around you and asking what are the problems that we are seeing, and then thinking about it, raising such questions, trying to find answers and create solutions. So that sort of thinking is not embedded in our educational system. And creativity is all about creating solutions for or unleashing that critical aspect of the imagination. How do you take a child's imagination, which is we are most imaginative when we are a child, and then somehow that imagination aspect goes down as we start learning and we get indoctrinated into standard forms of education. So we also think at some point in time that it is difficult for us to learn something new, whereas that is never true when you're a small child. So how do you allow that imagination to get converted into creative ideas and create an ecosystem and environments and an atmosphere? Design thinking is important. The ability to work with teams is very important. The ability to be able to look at what someone else has done and be able to integrate in what you're doing is also very important. So these are some aspects which go into creativity, teamwork, imagination, innovation, and today the technology world. So policymakers should enable the ecosystem. They should ensure that teachers, for example, get also trained. There is a lot of education of parents that is also required. So how do we incentivize parents' participation in the educational process? So for example, many parents would fall into the conventional trap of wanting their child just to be an engineer, doctor, and so on. And if a child is talented in art or if they're talented in other aspects, they are not being encouraged many times by society or by the parents, because it's not they feel that this will not give them a good job. Whereas the truth is, greatest innovations require a combination of art, science, creativity, and all of that. So policymakers should also set up the infrastructure and the ecosystem. There are a number of students who are not part of the formal educational system because of either poverty. I mean, we have 22% of our country still below the poverty line. So there is a day called the Community Day in every school. And in the Community Day, even students from the non-formal educational background, I mean students who have from the homeless and so on and so forth, they get an opportunity to come here and they get a chance to learn about a whole lot of things on innovation, on creativity, giving them the tools, because the technology is a universal language. You don't need to, and India has so many different languages, but this is a bond which provides a level playing field for young students to unleash their creativity and their critical thinking capabilities into innovations. And then they are very proud of it and gives them a lot of confidence in life. You see, when you have been there, done that, some innovation, you become a very confident person. And then you are able to sail through life saying, I can be a problem solver. And that's what we want everyone to become, a problem solver, an innovator, a thinker, a person who is confident that they can take on the challenges of life and actually solve them.